it's hard to keep up and maintain something that's in as bad a state of repair as the Capitol is. It's been patched and until a point that major renovation is necessary. This project has been really too long in the making, and there's going to be, if I may say this, there's going to be legislation presented, probably already has been presented, that will allow a little more fuller job to be done than was originally envisioned. Originally, the legislation limited the restoration primarily to the interior of the Capitol and primarily therein to the chambers of the House and Senate. The Building Commission and the Alabama Historical Commission is asking the legislature to authorize a portion of these funds to be spent on the exterior of the Capitol because we are advised by experts, our architects and engineers and structural advisors, that perhaps, not perhaps, but that there is where there's a greater need for immediate restoration than on the interior. And we are, at this present moment, working diligently to try to get something done about the dome, which is leaking and is in a very bad state of repair.
No lights. Looks like Atlanta's clear. 25 miles, 37 degrees. And we're clear all the way up. How's a beautiful day. We come in and we check the weather and check the sequences and all the points in between our point of departure and the point of arrival. And if there is any question on the weather, if it's a type of day that there could be a front or something between our point of departure and our arrival, well, we would call flight control in Atlanta. And they have all the meteorological information that we need on hand, instantaneous. Okay. Well, fantastic. I see here we have no alternate or anything, and should be a good trip all the way. Okay, listen, thanks a lot. You bet. Bye-bye. And for instance, if there was a front out here between Atlanta and Montgomery, they would know the location of it, and if flights were going through, if there was an open spot, or if it were safe to proceed. And we'd have an idea of where it was and what the conditions were before we ever left here. And once airborne, of course, we do have airborne radar, and we would use that extensively to determine whether we, proceed on.
Down Delta 544, clearance to Atlanta.
Delta 544, going to ground clear to Atlanta Airport as filed. Maintain 10,000, make up 17,000, 10 minutes after departure. Fly runway heading, departure frequency 124.0, squawk 0200.
Okay, as filed, maintain 10, expect 17:10 minutes, runway heading after takeoff. Departures 24-0, squawk 0200.
Delta 544, read back correct.
Okay.
Our controllers handle the instrument traffic by means of radar, which is located at Maxwell. And their primary responsibility is to prevent collisions between aircraft that are using our air traffic control system. Any weather that's noted on our radar scopes, and we have features to eliminate weather and minimize it so that we can see the airplanes. But the weather that is noted would be passed on to a pilot, and we even suggest a steer around the weather. And if the pilot accepts this, then we will take him around the weather on his route.
Delta 544, clear for takeoff.
Roger.
Delta 544, contact departure, good day.
Today is a routine weather day. From what we've seen here today, though, no matter what the weather is, all precautions are taken to ensure the safety of passengers aboard commercial airliners. From Danley Field, Lee Webb, WSFA TV News.
And the main item about the book is it's sort of the background of most of us who are Southerners and the times that I've spent in political life, through some of the traumatic experiences of the 60s, along with what happened to me on a traumatic fashion in the 70s, and recalls and the times that I felt that we in Alabama had expressed ourselves throughout the country, which I thought was a great restoration of pride for us, because the people in our region are great people. But up until a few years ago, they did not accept the fact that someone from our particular region should say run for the presidency. I do appreciate the fact you folks in the news media business have seen fit to come visit us. We glad Cornelia and I. Maybe you around sometime, honey?
We were discussing my book. I'm sorry. What did you say?
Talking about my book.
You're supposed to walk around with a copy in your hand. When I went on my tour, we go and I had this good lady traveling with my cousin, and so all three of us would get copies and walk in the airport with a picture of me on front, and they'd look at the picture, and then they'd look at us, and they never did really get what the book was all about. They just couldn't understand why somebody had their picture on the book.
I thought I said, you crazy woman.
Yeah, they thought that too.
Well, she did write a book, but that was a long time ago. It's not as good as mine, though.
That's not what you told me.
No, hers is a good book, too. And,
Yeah. This is it. See, you don't ever get caught without your book in your hand, Joel. See, he's funny. I have to borrow it.
long in mine, you email.
But see, anytime they take your picture, you have it, and anytime you run into anybody, you just always have it in your hand.
Yours is thicker than mine. You're talking to me. I frankly worked on it a long time, and because I was extremely busy and intended to even make it more voluminous and longer, but being governor and the legislature comes in session every year is enough to drive a man to distraction, and only one. Because, and I reckon we drive them to distraction too. Now, I don't write that, Floyd, that's off the record. I don't get along with them well enough in the Senate, rather, as it is. But, I think I worked, I don't know how long I worked on it, off and on, really. I should have, what I did, I could have done it in a short time, but it took several months. But I'd make tapes. I was standing up doing exercises, make tapes. You know, having to stand, I don't stand anymore. But I used to stand, I had to be braced, and I'd work and make tapes. Then when I'd go back and we'd check the tapes, half of them didn't play, couldn't understand it, and have to do it all over. But it took quite a while. I couldn't understand half of it and had to go and do it over, and then I forgot what I put on it, you know. Yeah, you could tell you about that.
As a temporary assessment until our own police department.
Well, really, many of my friends in Millbrook has asked me to be a candidate for mayor, primarily because I have a reputation of being an organizer, and it's a new city, and they felt I would be the right person.
I began working for Incorporation 22 years ago to guide the direction of this community because it was growing so fast. And now that it's here, I wanted to be a part of it.
I'm a part of this community. I'm a lifetime resident of Elmo County. I've lived here for 20 years. I understand some of the problems. I'm retired, and I can work at this job on a full-time basis.
The main reason I've been working for years in Corporation because I felt like the area needed incorporation. I grew up in this area, and I feel like I know some of the needs and the problems of this area.
We have a sewage and drainage problem in this area, and I want to get this corrected as quickly as possible. Also, we need a fire department here, paid full time, so that these people out here can have a lower insurance rate on their fire protection, and to set up a city school system for our children.
Well, I decided I would like to be mayor because I'm retired and I can give it a full-time, make it a full-time job. I think I'm qualified. I've lived here for 18 years. I know the needs for Millbrook, and I think that we can, with good councilmen and a good mayor, I think we can have a fine city and a fine place to live.
The Montgomery County District Attorney's Office is expected to get a full report on the findings of the autopsy. When that report will be submitted to his office is not known at this time. This is Norman Lumpkin, WSFA TV News, Chilton County.
Go, baby, go! Let's go, Jay! Come on, Jay! Go, baby, go! Come on, DJ! Come on, DJ, go! Way to pump it, baby! Way to pump it! I'll see you.
Millbrook has undergone several battles over incorporation, and this time those who pushed for having Millbrook as an entity unto itself have been victorious. That victory calls for a mayor and council, and each position for the fledgling government has a healthy number of candidates competing for it. There are 6 vying for the mayor's seat from all walks of Millbrook life, and all seem to have a common goal: progress on their minds.
I think Millbrook is going to prosper as a new city. It's going to grow. We want it to be a very proud city. I feel that Millbrook will be a city to be proud of eventually. I really do.
What do you think lies ahead for Millbrook as a new city?
A lot of hard work and a lot of effort to keep from making the mistakes of other cities.
With Millbrook being a new city, what lies ahead for the future?
It's fantastic. This is going to be the biggest, fastest growing area in South Alabama.
As a new city, I can vision great things for Millbrook because it's a growing area, it's moving, it's progressive, and all we need is a city and a good group of men and women working to promote it and to bring in more businesses and promote the area.
Oh, there's great things that lie in this city here in the future because we have the growingest population anywhere in the country, even in Prattville right now, because they say that by 1985 we should have 45 to 50,000 people here. So you can see what the potential of this city is.
With the proper city officials and with proper fire department, good police, good sewage, good drainage, I think that Millbrook can grow and become a fine city and a fine place to live.
During its previous battles for incorporation, Millbrook has already gone through one mayor and council, which was abolished due to a technicality. Needless to say, those competing for this year's slots are hoping their futures will be a bit more secure. From Millbrook, Alabama, Bill Weaver, WSFA TV News.
What was you asking me about?
5% is what?
He has assured me that he's going to implement an affirmative action program to assure that blacks are hired in technician position with the National Guards and also as state employees. He stated that he has appointed 2 lieutenants to actively recruit blacks over the state of Alabama in order that they can have black federal technicians here in the state of Alabama. I have made a request to the Secretary of the Army, and I have sent a telegram today asking Clifford Alexander, the Secretary of the Army, to suspend the investigation into the Alabama National Guards in order to give Mr. Gray an opportunity to implement his affirmative action program. He has assured me this in writing, and I believe him, and I believe he will carry out the mandate of his promise.
General Gray, were you aware of the black-white ratio and the technician status level in the Guard at the time you came into office?
No, I was not aware of the technician status, but however, during the first few days, I did have briefings by all the staff members, and I received a briefing by the technician personnel officer and also the technician race relations and equal opportunity officer. And at that time, I did become aware that the number of technicians, which are the full-time employees of the Alabama National Guard, has a very low black ratio.
Is this what brought about your affirmative action plan?
Yes, it is, because at the present time, there are only 1.6 blacks in the Army technician program and 3% blacks in the Air Guard technician program.
How will this plan be carried out?
Well, the affirmative action program that we will work during the next 12 months will involve an active recruitment of blacks into the technician program. And my goals to accomplish within the next 12 months are a 5% manning level of black technicians.
Yeah.
Watch your head.
Eddie, since we talked to you in Lakeland, I believe your ball club's been strengthened a bit. You had a few more pitchers.
Yeah, the Evansville Ball Club had about two pitchers that they had to get down, had to get rid of to get down to the limit, and we picked up Shelley Burnside, who was here last year and did a good job, and Gary Christensen, right?
Yeah.
2 left-handed pitchers, and I only had 1 left-hander on my roster up until that time, and those 2 pitchers added to the roster means that I'll have 3 left-handed starters and 2 right-handed starters, which is excellent. You know, to have left-handed pitchers hold the runners on and that type of thing. So that those 2 guys, the acquisition of those 2 guys, and then we got Stegman to come back. He's going to be playing center field for us. He did a great job here last year, and I think those 3 guys are going to help us a lot.
Stegman hit the long ball for you?
He's capable of hitting the ball out of the ballpark once in a while, yeah, but. You know, at the present
don't have
time,
the timber, huh?
Well, yeah, we're going to score runs. We didn't have any trouble scoring runs in spring training, mainly on stealing bases and hitting and running and this type of thing. You know, we got people around that way, and we got a couple of guys that I didn't know we were going to have when I talked to you before, who are capable of hitting the long ball and should help us out a little bit offensively.
Mm-hmm. Who are you going to pitch tomorrow night in the opener with Columbus?
Well, tomorrow night we're going to start a fellow by the name of Mike Burns. He's a pitcher out of Michigan. They graduated from college up there out of Michigan. He pitched last year in Bristol in the rookie league, and then they sent him to Lakeland to pitch a couple of ball games at the end of the season. I think his overall record between the 2 clubs was something like 5-2.
Went 6 innings my last outing, and I felt like I could have pitched an inning or 2 more then. And so I might be able to go 7, 8, maybe 9. Just depends on how many pitches I throw.
Know anything about their guys?
Nothing at all.
No book, huh?
Just I think the Astros are over there. That's all I know.
What pitchers do you like? What do you use?
I use a fastball, curveball, changeup. Once in a while a slider, but I try not to throw that too much right now because I haven't been working on it as much as I should have. I've been trying to get my other pitches down more.
Lou, you had yourself a good year last year. Would you like to be MVP of this league too?
Oh, I would love to be.
What'd you hit last year?
Oh, about 292. But I thought about it 300.
You did? You thought about it 300?
No, I thought about it 300. They told me about it 292.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Have you had a good spring?
Yeah, I had a, pretty good spring.
Have you set any kind of timetable for yourself? Would you like to be in the big leagues in another year or two, or do you worry about that sort of thing?
No, I'm not worrying about it right now. I could go anytime, so I'm just going to try to play AA ball,
You set any kind of goals for this league?
Have I set in? No.
Just going to kind of play it as it comes, huh?
Yeah, play it as it comes.
In other words, we need to know who in the future we can defend and who we cannot defend. We are not for 1 minute attempting to defend Litica and Kerner and Bush. All we're trying to do is to find out who in the future we will be able to defend and on what basis.
How long have you known the attorneys would like this appeal? The election is tomorrow, after all.
Well, if I were looking for something political to let alone, obviously I would let this alone. It couldn't have come at a more unpolitical time.
I'm certain that Mr. Foreman did this to try to gain some support from the police department. On the other hand, Mr. Foreman has steadfastly refused to sit down and talk to the police's labor organization to talk about their concerns. So I don't think they're going to buy this. I think everyone in Montgomery is going to see this as a political ploy. But what bothers me about the whole thing is that what we might be headed for in the future, and we're going to use taxpayers' dollars to further political goals and further political ambition, then we're in trouble. And my concern is that we owe it to the taxpayers of Montgomery not to spend their money unwisely. And certainly I think that when we start in these kind of situations, the city council ought to know about it, and I'm going to say right now that I'm against it. I'm against it because the council was not informed.
It's an administrative matter. It's the mayor's responsibility to make sure that the city knows where it stands in all legal matters. And in the mayor's opinion, he does not know what the city's legal situation is at this time regarding spending city funds for the defense of city employees. And he is just seeking an opportunity for clarification from the court.
Well, as a councilman and as acting president of the council, I certainly would have appreciated knowing about it beforehand. I was in conference with the acting mayor this morning, as I am each week prior to council meeting. No mention was made of it. Of course, I didn't know about it to ask him. He didn't say anything about it, so I don't have any comment about it.
In my opinion, it's up to the mayor. If he has the advice of the legal counsel of the city of Montgomery and this is what they recommend, then this is an administrative decision that he has to make.
Well, it will take time, of course, to get hotels and motels developed, but that is one project that is being worked on. Also, we want to see the Union Station completed and occupied, and perhaps with a restaurant, and then the Lower Commerce Street development with shops and restaurants.
Some downtowns in cities about the size of Montgomery seem to be dying because there is no state government to keep people flowing through downtown. Do you think Montgomery has a unique position in downtown staying a little bit viable because of the state government offices?
Well, of course, I think that does help. It draws tourists into the capital, and they shop some in downtown Montgomery. And of course, we have those people there who also shop in downtown Montgomery. So I think that does help, but I don't think we can rely upon the state government completely for the downtown area. I think we have to keep moving and encouraging people to come downtown to shop.
I think I saw it on this.
I think realistically speaking, I believe it's over. I'm going now to the free enterprise sector and the business sector, and I'm going into it with full force, and it's good to be back into it. Already I've begun to enjoy it. It's a new challenge and presents a challenge for us. So we'll re-identify with the free enterprise system. That's where I am, and so far as I'm concerned, that's where we're going to stay.
Now, as a former mayor, what advice would you give to the new mayor that's going to be elected today?
That job is tough enough to handle without some ex-mayor commenting, and I don't intend to spread any pearls of wisdom, because the job is difficult enough without hearing from folks who've been there before.
What do you think it's going to take to heal the wound that has come over the city of Montgomery as far as the police department, the Bernard Whitehurst? What's it going to take to heal that wound?
I think time and cooperation by everybody involved, and I understand some of that's beginning to happen now, and I think that's the way it ought to be. We have a great people, a great community. They're going to pull together, and they're going to bring it back together. And time has a healing effect to it. And but more than that, we have a great people in the community, and the people of this community want things to be right, and because of that, they will be right.
Now, what about your transition, going into private business now? What do you look for in that respect?
Well, a couple of things, too. First of all, it scares you to death to abruptly change professions, as we did. I look forward now to readdressing myself to the problems of business, and there are problems every place. Everybody has them. We're not without them in the free enterprise sector, but I think that we will be able, I think better able now, because of our years in the mayor's office, to better approach those problems. And we're going to give it the very best shot we have and do the best we can with that, and who knows what the future brings. Yeah.
By saying that, could we take that perhaps there may be more of Jim Robinson seen on the political scene?
No, I don't think so.
Nobody likes any additional tax. That's been proven over and over and over again. And I'm not advocating one. I'm just saying that at some point in time, the people will have to decide if they want a continued level of service or an increase in service, that they will have to speak and say that they're willing to pay for an increase in the level of service. My basic philosophy is that the people should be allowed to speak or to have input into anything that really affects them, and that will be my policy. But at the moment, I don't have an idea, Joe, and maybe we'll have to develop one. We've got serious traffic problems, we got serious drainage problems, we got a communications problem. In our police radios, we know that our city employees are underpaid. We've got streets that need resurfacing. We've got community centers that need to be built. We've got many things that we need to do. But we've got to balance our resources. We've got to balance our needs with our resources and make the best allocation we can. And then if the people say we want more goods and services, then the people are going to have to be willing at the same time to say we're willing to pay for them. If we go into additional programs, they're going to have to say we're willing to pay for this. We want this, but we're willing to pay for it. You can't spend money you don't have, and that will be my bedrock philosophy.
Good morning. This is Today, celebrating the American Bicentennial in Alabama.
It gives me great pleasure, Governor Wallace, to present to you and the citizens of Alabama NBC Today Show's program salute to our great state. I'm sure that the millions of Americans who watch this salute as a part of NBC's bicentennial programming now have a greater understanding and appreciation of the contributions Alabama has made to life in the United States.
Well, Mr. Josephson, I accept this on behalf of the people of Alabama from you and NBC, and say that on this particular program in the bicentennial year of 1976, that it captured the flavor and richness of Alabama and the great future that she has in front of her, and also the many contributions made to the quality of life in our nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Governor.
Nearly a century later, something else started here, and suddenly no one could say Montgomery lacked excitement. Blacks were boycotting segregated buses, and we started paying more attention to the anchorman at the NBC station as he reported the latest moves of a black minister who preached nonviolent resistance. The newsman was Frank McGee. He's still remembered here, so is the minister. John Cochran, NBC News, Montgomery.
He's going to shoot me down. The Quest, Wednesday at 10, 9 Central and Mountain Time on NBC.
Mr. Pierce, he's coming after me, Mr. Pierce. Morty's gonna shoot me down.
You better step aside. A brawling, sprawling drama in the great Western tradition. The Bodine brothers face a showdown on The Quest, Wednesday at 10, 9 Central and Mountain Time on NBC.